Hello, my name is Lucas and today I'll be teaching you about semiconductors. Semiconductors are materials that have electrical conductivity between a conductor and an insulator. They have the ability to conduct electricity under certain conditions, but not as freely as conductors. Materials are described in terms of energy bands, which represent the allowed energy levels that electrons can occupy. The two main energy bands that we need to know are the valence band and the conduction band. The valence band represents the highest energy level fully occupied by electrons at absolute zero. Electrons are strongly attracted to the nucleus of their respective atoms. This makes it difficult for them to move away from their parent atoms. As a result, these electrons are not readily available for electrical conduction. The conduction band is right above the valence band and is empty at absolute zero. Electrons in the conduction band are able to move through the lattice with little resistance. The energy gap between the valence and conduction bands is called the band gap. In insulators, this gap is big, therefore electrons cannot easily move from the valence band to the conduction band, meaning minimal conductivity. In conductors, the valence and conduction bands overlap and have a negligible band gap, allowing electrons to move freely, hence allowing for high electrical conductivity. Semiconductors have band gaps smaller than insulators but larger than conductors. This allows them to conduct electricity under certain conditions as stated previously. At absolute zero, all electrons are in the valence band, and the material behaves as an insulator. However, when energy is supplied to the semiconductor through heat or by applying a voltage, for example, some electrons can gain enough energy to pass the band gap and move to the conduction band, leaving behind holes in the valence band. These mobile electrons and holes can carry electric charge, resulting in conductivity. Semiconductors can be used in modern technology, specifically diodes, transistors, and integrated circuits. They are also used in healthcare and serve as CPUs in medical devices. Finally, they are used in transport for more efficient electric vehicles. The lower power loss of wide bandgap semiconductors allows higher switching frequencies, reducing power electronics size and weight. My chosen semiconductor is germanium. Germanium is a semiconductor with 4 valence electrons. A pure semiconductor is known as an inherent semiconductor, and therefore germanium is a pure semiconductor. It has a moderate band gap that allows for electron movement between the valence and conduction bands when energy is provided, and so it conducts electricity at room temperature or temperature higher than room temperature. Historically, germanium was used for early transistors and diodes. Today, germanium is still used in some niche electronics such as in infrared detectors, solar cells, and fiber optics. Doping is a process where impurity atoms are added to the semiconductor crystal lattice to change its electrical properties. Two types of doping are N-type and P-type doping. In N-type doping, atoms with more valence electrons than the semiconductor material are added, introducing excess electrons into the material. In P-type doping, atoms with fewer valence electrons are added, creating holes in the lattice. Doping allows precise control over the conductivity and other electronic properties of semiconductor materials. When a forward voltage is applied across the diode, it conducts current in only one direction, from the anode to the cathode. This is due to the presence of a p-n junction in the diode, which is formed by doping one side of the germanium crystal with impurities that create a surplus of free electrons N-type and the other side with impurities that create a deficiency of free electrons P-type. When a voltage is applied, the excess free electrons are attracted to the positive anode, while the deficiency of free electrons creates a barrier that prevents current flow in the reverse direction. Nowadays, there aren't many uses for a germanium diode. In general, a germanium diode might be used in a radio frequency circuit that needs the lower voltage and, sometimes, the better high frequency response. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell.